24,000 fans have come in from the 26-degree chill outdoors into the Metrodome, which might as well be the Decibel Dome, as the Minnesota Vikings come out onto the field, ready to take on Brian Urlacher and the Chicago Bears on NBC's Sunday Night Football.
Gus Frerotte, Tulsa.
Adrian Peterson, Oklahoma.
Bernard Berrien, Fresno State.
Bobby Wade, Arizona.
Dante Shanko, Morgan State Bear.
Jim Kleinsasser, University of North Dakota.
Ryan McKinney, the U.
Steve Hutchinson, Michigan.
Matt Burke, Harvard.
Anthony Herrera, the real UT.
Ryan Cook, New Mexico.
Real UT, as in the University of Tennessee, says one Anthony Herrera. So Frerotte back to pass on first down as Urlacher blitzed, and the first play of the game is a pass that is caught by Bernard Berrien, the ex-Bear, out at the 31-yard line on a first down on the game's first play.
You know, Brad Childers was just talking about all the stuff that they have to pick up right in the middle of the line. They had an 8-man front. They brought Mike Brown in as the safety, and they were going to blitz to stop the run right off the bat. And that was an excellent play call there, going to the pass on the outside.
Peterson is the tailback on first down from the 31-yard line. And here he goes, and Adrian Peterson out to the 38-yard line. Adrian Peterson, drafted last year out of the University of Oklahoma, and made an immediate splash before the season was done. Not only was he the Rookie of the Year, but he had established a National Football League single-game mark, 296 rushing yards against San Diego.
Right, Brad Childers says that he's a violent runner, and on that run, he kind of looked a little like that, didn't he? Lovie Smith on the other side says he's the best player in the NFL.
Second down and 3. The fake to him, and then they set up the pass to Jeff Dugan, and Dugan, tight end slash fullback, H-back, first down. Mike Brown the tackle. Let's take a look at the Chicago defense.
Adewale Ogunleye, Indiana. Tommy Harris, the University of Oklahoma.
Dusty Dvorak, Oklahoma. Alex Brown, University of Florida.
Nick Roach, Northwestern.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, Desert Swarm, Arizona.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Kevin Payne, Louisiana Monroe.
Mike Brown, Nebraska. Corey Graham, University of New Hampshire.
And that's Adrian Peterson now in motion. They have Chester Taylor in the backfield, and the pass goes to Taylor as Frerotte has to check it down because of that big rush put on primarily by Alex Brown. So that time they had both Peterson and Chester Taylor in the lineup at the same time.
That's one of the things that Brad Childers says he wants to do more of, but he's only going to have one of them in the backfield at one time. Then the other one will be split. That time he had Adrian Peterson split, kind of brought him like a fake reverse, and then tried to throw the screen pass to Chester Taylor.
Taylor primarily on third down. This is 2nd and 11, and so it is Peterson carrying, and he'll take the ball out to the 42-yard line, where it'll be third down after the Danielle Manning tackle, 3rd down and 9.
And Danielle Manning is a defensive back, and you say, how did he get in there? You'll see him, number 38 there. He was coming on a blitz off the slot. And you know, you say, which team in the NFL blitzes more than any other team? The answer would be the Chicago Bears.
They send 5 or more about 18 times a game. Chester Taylor is in the backfield as Frerotte takes the snap out of the gun, buys time, steps up, but then holds on, and Alex Brown is there to knock him down and sack him back at the 39-yard line. Urlacher came around to put the pressure on to send Frerotte scrambling toward the line of scrimmage, and Brown got there for the sack.
And we talk about the blitzes and what they're going to do. You see Brian Urlacher, he's coming right up the middle there. He gets free, he makes Frerotte move, and then here comes Alex here.
Inside the dome per usual, and now Chicago with the ball, and they start with Orton in the shotgun, and they empty the backfield. 2 slots and 2 wide, and Orton will fire over the middle, and that's incomplete, intended for one of his 2 tight ends, Desmond Clark. They use a 2 tight end setup about 1/3 of the time.
And when they do use the 2 tight end setup, the Vikings are going to play nickel or 5 defensive backs. They're going to play tight end Greg Olson like he's a wide receiver. He's out here right now.
And they're going no huddle here on 2nd down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Orton looking to the near side, and that pass is incomplete. Intended for Greg Olsen, and the coverage is great.
Including too many penalties.
And turnovers. They had 5 turnovers in that 48-41 loss to Chicago in October. And on 3rd and 5, that pass is deflected and then almost intercepted. Intended for Brandon Lloyd. The coverage was great. Jared Allen picked up in that trade in the offseason from Kansas City. From the 30-yard line now, 1st down. Bobby Wade was the man in motion. He's their leading receiver. And there goes Peterson to the left side. And he gets knocked down after a gain of 1. And we go to Andrea.
There's some early adversity for the Bears defense. Nose tackle Dusty Dvorak injured his arm on the first series. They took him right to the locker room, didn't even look at him on the sidelines. They have ruled him out. Anthony Adams moves in its place. And the good news, Al, at least, is that the Bears dressed 8 defensive linemen tonight.
They did. They brought 8. Adams would have played a lot anyway, rotating in and out. But now minus Dvorak. Tommy Harris, the other tackle, Lagunle and Brown, the defensive end. 2nd down and 9. The ball at the 32-yard line. And there's Peterson, who tries to cut it off the left side. And Peterson gets tripped up by Nick Roach, the outside linebacker, number 53. Years ago in baseball, there was a guy named Harry Simpson, and they used to call him Suitcase because he got traded all the time and kept moving around. Gus Frerotte would be the modern-day NFL equivalent of Suitcase Simpson. Frerotte in the league since 1994 when he came in with Washington. 15 years, 7 different teams, and this is his 2nd stint with the Vikings.
He was saying his daughter is a freshman in high school, and she's gone to 9 different schools already. That's why they stayed in St. Louis.
3rd down and 6.
Ooh.
And Frerotte going to get sacked by Tommy Harris, who had 2 sacks last week. Harris had gotten off to a slow start this year, causing a lot of consternation among Bear fans, and all of a sudden he's coming on for Lovie Smith and company.
Yeah, Tommy Harris looks like the Tommy Harris of a couple of years ago. You're going to see he's on the 3 technique right there against Anthony Herrera. Herrera didn't have a chance. He just took his outside shoulder and just went.
Between the teams who are tied for the division lead this late into a campaign. And 1st down now. Matt Forte picks up a couple of yards, and let's take a look at the Chicago offense.
Kyle Orton, Purdue.
Matt Forte, Tulane University.
Devin Hester, the U. Rashid Davis, West Los Angeles College.
Des Clark, Kathleen High School.
Greg Olsen, the U.
John St. Clair, Virginia. Josh Beekman, Boston College.
Olin Cruz, Washington.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
John Tate, Brigham Young.
Matt Forte, the rookie, about 80 yards shy now of 1,000 yards this season. 2nd-round pick out of Tulane on 2nd and 7. That pass is caught by Hester, and Hester is going to break free, and nobody's going to catch Devin Hester, who goes in for a touchdown. 65 yards on a 2nd and 7, and that's, of course, one of the reasons that they put Devin Hester into the lineup, into the offensive game plan. He may have lost his job as the kickoff returner, but he makes an immediate splash here in Minneapolis tonight.
Yeah, and this is what the Bears were talking about last night when they said we have to get the ball to our wide receivers. And, of course, that wide receiver who's going to give you the big play is that guy right there, one of the most exciting players in the NFL, Devin Hester. And that's why they moved him to wide receiver. You know, one of those things that anytime he gets his hands on the ball, and that was one of the things the Bears wanted to do, is get the ball to their outside receiver. Antoine Winfield is a corner there, but he should have help from Sharper here. I mean, Darren Sharper is a free safety in the middle. Now, when he catches that ball, Sharper has to make that tackle right there. I mean, Hester made him look like he'd never played before. I mean, that's tough. You know, it's a tough job for a free safety, but that's what his job is.
Not too many guys beat Winfield and Sharper on the same play. Ball at the 16-yard line, 1st down. They give the ball to Peterson, and Peterson's going to try to cut it back, but he gets taken down after a minimal gain by Marcus Harrison. This Chicago defense, and of course the hallmark of the Bears through the years, through the decades, has been the defense. Take a look at that against Tennessee 3 weeks ago. They held Tennessee to less than a yard per rush, even though the Titans won the game. Then Green Bay ran through them like they were a sieve. And then last week, less than a yard per carry for the Rams. So the defense has been, it's been good, but it's been very inconsistent this season.
Yeah, you see how they press the line of scrimmage. They get the linebackers in there and blitz and stuff. If you get by them, you get right to the safety.
And over the middle on 2nd and 8, Farad under pressure is able to sling it into the tight end, Basante Shenko. The one-time Giant. Lance Briggs came in to hit Farad as he got rid of it, and that's a 20-yard gain and a first down.
Yeah, and I think that's the exact place that you have to go. Just look at the hole in the middle there. I mean, Peterson gets a pretty good pickup block there, but if you say where is the weakness in this defense passing-wise, to me it's right there in the middle of the field. And that'll be there all the time when the Bears use this defense with the 8 men up.
Farad again off the play fake, and Farad, that's his first incomplete pass intended for Bobby Wade, and it will be 2nd down and 10. Corey Graham with the coverage on the play. Corey Graham is going to take over as a starter now that Nathan Vacher has been placed on injured reserve with a broken hand.
And I was watching the other day, I was watching Gus Frerotte in practice, and you know, I mean, he's a 15-year vet, 37 years old and all those things, but he still has a quick release and a very live arm. I mean, you know, you think a guy played that long, you know, it's slow up his arm and so on, but not at all.
Here's Peterson, and he can't get on track as he's met by about 4 Bears led by Tommy Harris and Lance Briggs. So they've been able to bottle up Peterson at least at the outset tonight.
You don't think that they have a big X on his chest? I mean, watch what they do here. Urlacher's going to come right here, get the penetration, get on their side of the line of scrimmage, make him cut. Then as he cuts right back in to Lance Briggs. Still 2 of the best linebackers in pro football, Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs.
3rd and 9.
Urlacher's starting to look like his old self in the last few games.
Here they come. Farad gets it away, and the pass is incomplete. The coverage was good, and back there in that coverage was Urlacher going back with the tight end Shenko, who earlier had the 20-yard reception. It'll be 4th down.
You know, with this defense, this is the toughest thing. See, Urlacher, he's up in there tight, but he still has pass responsibility. So he's up on the line of scrimmage. The ball snapped. He goes back, and he gets shanked.
He's going to bounce back into the end zone. Herron coming down full speed, trying to make the play on the ball, and Lovie Smith is right there with a challenge. So the challenge is fruitful. The ball comes out to the 20-yard line, and Forte with a big hole through the middle, and the rookie out of Tulane with an 18-yard gain out to the 38-yard line, running right through the middle of that Minnesota run defense behind a Greg Olsen block.
Yeah, Greg Olsen, the tight end, is in the backfield, and he's going to make a lead block. He's right here. It's not a great block, but they get a double right there on Kevin Williams, and they get him.
The defensive coordinator, remember Mike Tomlin was here 2 years ago, and that led to his head coaching spot, his ascendancy to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Frazier now in his 2nd year as the DC under Childress. 1st and 15. Orton will throw, and that pass is incomplete. Try to get it to Hester. Antoine Winfield knocked it away. A couple of weeks ago against Detroit, everybody held their breath in Chicago because Orton was hit as he ran to the sideline, and before he was able to get out of bounds, down he went. It looked like, and he thought for a moment the worst. Thought he might have fractured his ankle. It was just sprained. He did miss the next game against Tennessee. Came back. He was far less than 100% against Green Bay. Played better last week against St. Louis, and told us last night he thinks he's all the way back. Screen, Hester. But that one is read perfectly, and right there to wrap him up is Cedric Griffin. And let's take a look at that Viking D.
Ray Edwards, Cincinnati High School. Pat Williams, Wasman High School.
Kevin Williams, Oklahoma State.
Jared Allen, Culinary Academy.
Chad Greenway, University of Iowa.
Napoleon Harris, Northwestern.
Ben Lieber, Kansas State University.
Antoine Winfield, The Ohio State University.
Darren Sharper, College of William and Mary.
Mediu Williams, University of Maryland.
Cedric Griffin, Great School of Texas.
Williams, free agent pickup from Cincinnati. On 3rd and 15, Orton throws, and the pass is caught. Inbounds at the 43-yard line of Minnesota by Brandon Lloyd, who got off to a pretty good start this year, then got hurt. He's rounding back into form. 24-yard gain on a 3rd and 15.
Great pass by Kyle Orton, and he's showing here that he can push off that right ankle tonight. Last week, it was a little tender, and he felt that he really couldn't push off. And if you can't push off that back foot, you don't get any torque. He pushed off, and he got pretty good torque. He got real good torque on that last pass. What he said he likes about Brandon Lloyd, he said, I can just throw the ball up, and he'll go up and get it.
Now Forte will get stopped in the backfield as he tried to get to the outside, and Ray Edwards, number 91, is there. You know, you think about the Bears and the great history, of course, of running backs, and Walter Payton, obviously, and Gale Sayers, and even guys like, you know, Neil Anderson through the years, who was the last Bear running back to get to a Pro Bowl. That was in '91. And then a couple of years ago, they had Thomas Jones and Cedric Benson, who they drafted 4th overall in the draft. Jones left to go to New York, better contract. Benson turned out to be a bust. And then this guy was a godsend. They got him in the 2nd round out of Tulane, and he's touched the ball more than any running back in the league, combined carries and receptions. 2nd and 14. Going deep down the sideline and over Hester's head, and incomplete. He's covered by Winfield. It'll be 3rd down. But, John, who would have figured when the season started they had Kevin Jones, the ex-Lion, and they had their own Adrian Peterson, not to be confused with Minnesota's Adrian Peterson, and then all of a sudden this guy emerges.
Yeah, and we saw him in the first regular season game of the year, and you knew right then he was something special. You know, and he does it all. I mean, it's not just a runner. I mean, he's a runner and he's a pass receiver. We saw on that last play, he's a blocker. You know, they can put him as a wing. They can put him out wide. He is a complete running back.
On 3rd and 14, and that is Hester, and he can't make the play that time. And again, in the field, he figures to have a very busy night. 2 minutes remaining in the quarter, and this time it is Peterson, and he'll get stopped because Mike Brown came on a run blitz. Mike Brown, the oft-injured safety who's been able to stay healthy this year, tackles him in the backfield for a loss of 2.
You know, and that's the other way to get him, and that's what Lovie Smith is thinking right now, is get penetration, get in the backfield, and get him before he gets started. Because you saw the play before that, when you don't get him before he gets started, and you let him run downhill with his strength and power and speed, you know, he's going to be an all-day second. If you get him in the backfield before he gets started, then this happens.
Peterson looking up at the screen as if to say, where'd that guy come from? 2nd and 12, and that pass is incomplete. He tried to get it to Berrien, and it will be 3rd down and 12 for Farrat. You know, we're talking about Gus Farrat. One thing we should point out, when the season started, Tavares Jackson was the quarterback. When Brad Childress took over this team, he inherited Dante Culpepper. Before he ever coached the game, he was gone. Then it was Brad Johnson and Brooks Bollinger. Then they drafted Jackson. He was their quarterback last year. He played 2 games this year. They went to Farrat.
Yeah, and, you know, talking to Gus Farrat after the 2nd game, they told him he was going to be the starter, but Brad Childress told him, not only are you going to be the starter for the next game, you are going to be my starter for the rest of the season.
3rd and 12. And the screen to Chester Taylor, and he'll get taken down well shy of the 1st down by Lance Cision by Tuesday. And so these guys with a little bit of mystery surrounding them as Forte picks up a couple more on that. Let's go to Andrea. Andrea, what do you know about this? For the Bears at their own 37-yard line. Fake to Forte, a ton of time. And then the pass is low. The coverage was good. Pass intended that time for Rashid Davis. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
And that's probably why Kyle Orton is going to his wide receivers. It was one of the things the Bears wanted to do anyway, but I don't know that they anticipated or expected nickel on 1st and 2nd down against 2 tight ends. And so they're kind of taking Greg Olson away and kind of forcing him to go outside.
3rd and 8. 7-yard average per play for Chicago. Of course, a lot of that thanks to that 65-yard reception by Hester for the game's only touchdown. 5-man rush, and that's enough to take Orton down in the backfield. Jared Allen.
Study hard, are good teammates, and they'll have a job in this league for a long time.
Now Peterson breaks away, and he turns a 4-yard gain into what might be a touchdown run, but Tillman is able to save it by knocking him down at the 5-yard line. Adrian Peterson, just when you think you have him, you don't, and a 5-yard gain becomes a 59-yard gain. Peterson on 1st and goal, and this time they're able to stop him. And again, it's Brown coming in from his safety spot who got there first. It'll be 2nd down and goal at the 5-yard line. Peterson in his first 4 games against the Bears, more rushing yards than anybody's ever gained in any 4-game span against the Bears. He's been averaging about 140 yards per game in his first 3 games against them. And Lovie Smith has watched this guy go into the end zone 7 times against his defense in the 3 games he's played against them.
He's proven Lovie Smith right when Lovie says he's the best player in the league.
Here goes a fade to the side of the end zone that gets tipped and is incomplete. Was almost intercepted. He threw it up for grabs. Brian Urlacher and Corey Graham were back there on the coverage on the fade pass intended in the corner of the end zone for Rice. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
I think it was maybe tipped and kicked. You know, they're trying to get, yeah, it was tipped and kicked. They were trying to get a jump ball there. The kick kept it alive, and Brian Urlacher almost got it. But that's the old thing, you know, get my guy in the end zone and throw a jump ball up, but you can't throw that jump ball up short. You have to give your guy a chance. That should have been thrown to the back pylon.
Chester Taylor replaces Peterson, and again Farrat thrown in the end zone, and this time it is incomplete. That time he tried to get it to Bobby Wade, covered that time by the strong safety Kevin Payne, and Farrat goes down. 12:45 to go. Crowd still up in arms about what they perceive should have been a personal foul. What would have been a 1st and goal. Instead they settle for a field goal. Danielle Manning to run the kickoff back, and Manning, who takes over these duties from Devin Hester, looks like the old Hester as he brings it back out to the 48-yard line. And now Hester will come in on offense, and we'll go back and take a look at the hit again. For what it's worth, Bill Levy's crew is one of 2 crews this year that has not called a single roughing the passer penalty. John, either he didn't see it or he felt that it wasn't a hit to the head and it was a hit that wasn't serious enough to be a personal foul.
No, he can't think that. I mean, if he thought that, he's wrong. I mean, a guy can't make judgments and say it was a hit after he threw the ball, late hit, but it's okay because he didn't mean any harm. That's not part of the rule. After the quarterback throws the ball, it's out of his hand and it's gone, you can't touch him. Now, whether it wasn't that bad or not, or whether, you know, Farrat was, you know, faking a little, I don't know, but it's still a penalty. And there's still, I mean, that's the referee's only job. He's back there, and his job is to watch and protect the quarterback.
Until the very end, too. So he doesn't get the flag. Bill Levy, one of the best in the league through the years, ref the Super Bowl in Detroit between Pittsburgh and Seattle 3 seasons ago. Greg Olson makes the catch. Olson across the 45-yard line of Minnesota. They'll spot the ball at the 44, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 2.
Greg Olson is kind of a special player for this Bear team. He's a 2nd tight end, but he can really be used in a lot of different ways. They split him out as a wide receiver. They put him in the slot. We saw him in the backfield on lead plays. They can do a lot of things with him.
3 wide against the nickel on 3rd and 2. You got a flag, and that pass is caught by Rasheed Davis, who gets pushed back after he makes the catch. 3rd and 7 from the 49-yard line. Out of the gun, inside handoff, Forte. And Forte fighting for the 1st down, but he'll come up short at the 43-yard line, and that will make it 4th down and 1. Adrian Peterson, who already has collected 83 yards tonight, is the running back. Looking for more. Instead, he'll go from 83 to about 81. Losing a couple. 2nd down.
You know, and Adrian Peterson does that. I mean, he's that kind of back. Remember, Barry Sanders was that way. I mean, he would have, you know, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a none and a -2. Then a 5th. Well, here it is right here.
Perfect.
It is. He has a 7, a 2, a 1, a 3, a 2, a none, a 10, a -2, 59, and 1.
And he hits the jackpot.
You know, again, because, you know, he has the power, the speed, the moves. He has all those things that a great runner possesses.
2nd and 12. Farrat will throw out of the end zone over the middle, a little behind Peterson that time. He couldn't make the grab. Urlacher with the coverage. 3rd down and 12 now.
This is where the Bear defense really has to press. And when you get them down like this, You want to press them and keep them in this position, make them punt out of their own end zone without having the full 15 yards. If you're the Minnesota Vikings, your first goal is to pick up at least 4 yards to give your punter the 15 yards he needs in the snap.
Chester Taylor is in the game on 3rd and 12, and they're going to give it to him on a gamble, on a draw. It looked like for a moment he was going to get stopped in the end zone. He gets out to the 7. The crowd doesn't like it, but he does give them, as John says, the room now to kick conventionally. Cyrus, Beyonce, the Jonas Brothers and others, Christmas in Rockefeller Center. You have the version of the Wildcat. This is Matt Forte. They actually call this their Cajun, since Forte is from Louisiana, and then they call it a cane when they do it with Devin Hester. Olin Koot snapping the ball to him, but that didn't fool anybody. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
I think that this Wildcat or Cajun, as they call it here, is starting to be defensed. I mean, I think everyone's ready for it. I mean, you see the Vikings there, they weren't fooled by it. There was nothing that they weren't ready for. In fact, big Pat Williams, the nose tackle, got penetration and got the play stopped before it even got started.
Quick snap, Forte this time conventionally carries straight ahead of the 44-yard line, and that's Pat Williams. Goes 6'3", 317 pounds of it.
And that's big and good hitting.
Inside handoff out of the gun, and then slipping before he can get out of the backfield that time is Forte, and Kevin Williams is able to stop him. Yeah, right on the verge. Ball at the 27, 1st down. Forte swinging to the outside. 1st down and more, and gets knocked out of bounds at about the 2 by Madeu Williams. So from having to punt because of the personal foul, they now have a 1st and goal on a 26-yard run.
Josh Beekman, the left guard, is going to pull and make a good block here. Watch the left guard, boom, right there. So the back comes up, and he's gonna go in low. Then they get the soft corner. Forte gets that. Watch the dive here at the end. Oh. Dive and get that thing in there. Number 74, Chris Williams, is in for the first time this year in on goal line, the #1 draft choice.
Play fake on 1st down. And Orton will throw that one out of the end zone because the coverage is there as Greg Olsen drew a crowd in the form of double coverage. It'll be 2nd down and
would really get him and really upset him even more than a fumble is making a mistake. You know, the wrong assignment.
2nd and goal, and here goes Forte trying to get into the end zone, and he did not. Shy of the goal line, setting up a 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, this is the thing we talk about, the Williams wall in there and the big guys inside. What it does is it forces you to get a little more outside. If you're going to get some successful running, it's in the area where Matt Forte just ran those last 2 plays.
And now you've got Jason Davis, who was activated for the game, and he gets stopped. So they try to go to Davis in his first carry, 2nd-year guy out of Illinois, because of the injury to Jason McKee. They put him in, and he can't get in, and it's 4th and goal.
Yeah, I mean, this is the toughest thing about this Viking defense is getting anything inside. I don't know exactly what's going to go, but I know what's not going to go. And that's the fullback running in there without a lead that we just saw.
4th and goal. And behind a lot of leverage, Forte cannot get in. Jared Allen that time made the tackle.
Good when you're trying to get in their end zone.
Now Farrat tries to give him some breathing room, and he's going to take a shot deep downfield, and open is Bernard Berrien, and the former Bear will go 99 yards for a touchdown. Wow. Now Orton, who's 4 of 12 for 96 yards, one of those the 65-yard bomb to Hester, goes to Forte. They line him up outside, and Forte out to the 38-yard line, just short of the 1st down. Little contact sheet here as you take a look at the Williams wall and their buddies, including Jared Allen.
Good-looking group, huh?
Yeah.
Jared Allen, call him a loose wire. Pat Williams calls himself a loose wire. Asked Pat Williams, who's a looser wire, you or Allen? He said me.
Davis drops the pass on a 2nd and 1. It'll be 3rd and 1. It's good to be a loose wire.
Well, I think defensive players have to have a little of that in them. You know, that you know, you ask them, you know, what they do and what they keep. You know, I just line up there and smack the guy in front of me. Take out all my frustrations. I said, what frustrations do you have to Pat Williams? He said, I have 2 daughters, one a junior in high school and one a senior in high school. That's my frustration. And I don't let them date.
3rd and 1. Forte will pick up the first down after the 41-yard line.
Yeah, he said that, you know, that he won't let him date. He said if any guy comes to his house, he said he better come there with money to buy the house. Or he said the other thing he can do is bring 50,000. He said if he gives me 50,000 cash and gives me back all the money I spent for cars and clothes on those girls, then they can come to my house and date him. And until they buy my house or give me 50,000 cash, there's no way those girls are going to date.
Started his career at Buffalo, already his 12th season in the league, and Orton has that one knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Boy, you come to Pat Williams' house to date one of his daughters, you better be a confident kid.
No, you wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't even try.
That was Pat who batted that pass down.
Yeah, and he's making his presence felt here, isn't he? And just on the goal line, that last stand, and right now, this is what they do. You know, you say, well, they're not much pass rushers, but they take away that 3-step drop. Because if you take a 3-step short drop, they're going to be right in your face on that 3rd step and get their hands up.
2nd and 10. The Bears have their own Adrian Peterson in the backfield. And this is Peterson carrying out to the 46-yard line, and that's Pat Williams again in on the tackle as we tick down to the 3-minute mark remaining in the opening half.
Yeah, if you like defense and you like hitting and you like line play, you're going to like this one.
3rd and 5 now at the 46-yard line.
The Vikings decide this is not going to be a running down, going to be a passing down for the Bears, so they don't need Pat Williams in the middle there.
Hester in the slot to the right, and the tight end Olsen split to the right. Orton will go to the left side this time, and that pass is incomplete. Adrian Peterson unable to handle it. Chad Greenway, the linebacker, with the coverage, and it's 4th down for Chicago.
Being loose wires or maybe half goofy, John Randall fit that.
Now Peterson's going to get taken down at the 17, and the Chicago Bears will take another timeout. 3rd and 7. Chester Taylor in the backfield for Rock to take the snap out of the gun. Throws, caught, and that's going to be enough for a first down because Urlacher can't tackle Taylor until he's able to move the chain. And 1 this afternoon. Right now the home team has the lead here, 10-7, first down at the 25-yard line. And this is Peterson taking the inside handoff. And they can't bring him down by his shirt, and he keeps fighting and fighting, and he gets 16 yards. 4th time in his brief career he's at 100 yards in the first half. Farad gets it out quickly, and that's caught by Bobby Wade. He takes the ball into Chicago territory at the 44-yard line, and that's a first down for the Vikings.
I was talking about Farad having a live arm, quick release and a live arm. That's exactly what I saw in practice the other day, is just coming back and getting rid of the ball quickly, just like that last play. Of course, he got a lot of confidence when he threw that deep one to Denard Berrien.
With a minute and 20 to play, this is Berrien, and Berrien steps inside and gets dragged out from behind, and that does draw the flag as Charles Tillman dragged him down on the horse collar. 1st and 10 of the 21. Farad over the middle.
Someone else.
Well, his team up by 10. They have outgained Chicago 287 to 165. Orton's throw is caught, and that's a 9-yard gain, and the ball almost came loose, but Desmond Clark is able to hang on to it to set up a 2nd down and 1 at the 37-yard line.
I think Lovie Smith was partly right about the Bears playing well in the first half, but the part that he wasn't right was at the end of the first half. I mean, the last part of the first half, the Bears did not play well.
2nd and 1. Forte will pick up enough for a first down. Move the chains out to the 39-yard line. 1st and 10 for Chicago. You know, the luckiest guy in the building, of course, is Benny Sapp. You know, we talked about that tremendous, unbelievable turnaround as Chicago goes no huddle, but it was Sapp with a personal foul call that looked like it was going to lead to an 11-point deficit.
And he ought to thank Jaron Allen and Pat Williams in those guys.
And for Roddenberry, and Rasheed Davis couldn't hang on. He'd gotten out in front, he'd gotten behind Antoine Winfield, and he couldn't hang on down the sideline. Incomplete in 2nd and 10.
Yeah, that's where Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator of the Bears, loves to do this. This is a situation when you get a good field position and you have first down, you take a shot. And they had the right coverage, they had man coverage, they caught him in a blitz, he got the ball off, and Berrien just couldn't handle it. I mean, Rasheed Davis, what am I calling it?
Davis is 2nd down and 10. The ball is at the 39-yard line. Quick drop, and the pass is incomplete, a little bit underthrown, and reaching for it, intended for Devin Hester, and getting the hand on it as Antoine Winfield has been involved in both plays in this series. 3rd down and 10.
You're right, and Hester had him there. And if Orton gets it out there, this is going to be a big play. Watch, he gets by Winfield right there. Right now, give him the ball, and the ball was a little short, although I don't know if Hester was really ready for it, because it looks like it hits him in the back arm, and he's not ready to catch it.
Winfield just got a fingertip on it. 3rd down and 10 out of the gun from the 39. Pressure. Orton gets hit as he throws, but he gets it over the middle and completes it to Rasheed Davis. Chad Greenway came in and buried Orton, but he hung in, slung it over the middle, and it's a 17-yard gain on a 3rd and 10.
Yeah, Chad Greenway is the linebacker coming from the outside, and he comes unblocked. I mean, you see him, he starts in the middle, comes from the outside, is unblocked, and he puts a hit on Orton just as he throws the ball. Ooh. That was the right call.
Yeah, but Childress was arguing the fact that one of the officials came in initially and said false start. So it's 1st down and 5 now. At the 39.
Yeah, right call, wrong signal.
Right. Forte to the 37-yard line. 16 carries tonight for the Tulane rookie for 67 yards.
Now they get Pat Williams back in there. They get the feeling that they're going to try and run it here, so they got to get their 2 run stoppers right in here side by side. There they are right there side by side.
2nd and 2, Jason Davis in at fullback. He'll try to lead the way with a block, and he can't make the block. He can't make the block because that was Medea Williams who came up. Davis went down. Williams was able to slow the play down, and it turns out to be a loss back to the 41-yard line, and a 3rd down and 7 now.
Great play by Medea Williams, and that's what you call force. And one of the defensive backs on any sweeping play always has force. He has to come to the outside and force everything back to the inside. Medea Williams got the force, and he really had a jump on it. Now the Vikings are in nickel, 5 defensive backs.
3rd and 7. Blitz. Sack. Jared Allen's the first guy in there, and then everybody else comes in to clean.
He gets a handoff, has a quickness, has a speed, has a move, even had a jump cut in there.
Here he is again. Cuts it back. And picks up a couple as he finally gets tackled by Corey Graham. Lance Briggs was able to force him to the inside. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Lance Briggs was saying last night that the thing that sets him apart, Peterson, is he has the injury here, but is his speed. He says you think he's one place, you go to tackle him, and he's 3 yards away from you.
So Peterson will go to the bench, or at least try to walk it off along the sideline. That puts Chester Taylor into the game. Taylor stays in the block, and they swing it to the outside to Tahi, the fullback. And it will be third down. Let's go back and check out Peterson on the replay.
You see, he makes the cut, and right as he's going down, you know, he's hit right there. I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything there, but and when a guy, you know, plants and cuts and does all these things that he does, he's, you know, susceptible to, you know, some twisted ankles and stuff, because he makes you twist your ankle when you try and tackle him at the end of the day.
Maybe a shoulder to the thigh as Farrat throws on third down, and the double coverage is deflected and picked off by Kevin Payne. And Payne looking for blocking, gets inside the 20, Payne inside the 10, inside the 5, and he backpedals but steps out of bounds along the sideline. Sidney Rice was the intended receiver, and the pass was deflected and then run all the way back to the 4-yard line in the 1st and goal.
That's why you keep those safeties deep there, you know, so that no one can get behind them. They keep everything in front of them, and if a ball is ever tipped or bounced, they're right there to get it. And that's exactly what Payne is. He's covering the ball. He sees the ball in the air. He goes over there, stays behind it, isn't going to let anything get behind him, and then comes up with a tip.
Tipped by Danielle Manning, picked by Payne. Now Chicago, 1st and goal.
I guarantee you they're not going to hand it to the fullback up the middle.
No, instead it's Forte. And he'll go up the middle into the Williams wall. Pat Williams makes the tackle. 2nd down and goal from the 2. 21 straight games now for the Chicago Bears, who thrive on takeaways. 21 in a row for them.
And this is big here. I mean, you know, the Bears have to remember what happened the last time they were down here. The Vikings have to be thinking of what they did to them the last time. And I wouldn't be surprised if this play were a play-action pass. I wouldn't have been surprised if they did it on 1st down, but they really have trouble pounding it in there in the run. Now it has to be a pass.
They split Forte to the left. They empty the backfield, and the pass to Forte is caught for a touchdown. They got him one-on-one and isolated him with the outside linebacker, Chad Greenway, as they broke the formation, got him against the linebacker, and in they go for the touchdown.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Matt Forte can do. There was one back in the backfield. He's going to go in motion. He starts here. He goes in motion out to the left. He's going to be man-to-man on Greenway. Now, that's what you look for. Just that thing, he just runs a little fake. Fake to the inside, and then just throw it over his outside.
Darius Raynaud with that run back, giving the Vikings good field position to start this drive at the 46-yard line. Adrian Peterson is fine. He's back in the game. He collects the pass, and Urlacher is right there, smelling it out beautifully, sniffing it, and then able to penetrate and make the tackle.
You know, and that's a big thing. And Brian Urlacher is one of those guys that, you know, has speed and goes sideline to sideline. But once he gets there, he's a good tackler, because that's a big thing. I mean, they have a screen. They have it all set up. There's only one Bear defender out there, and if he doesn't make that play, that could have been a 10-yard gain.
Instead of 2-yard loss, 2nd down and 12, the ball at the 48-yard line. AP inside the 45. Down he goes at the 41-yard line. Gain of 7. It'll be 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, I think that was the play Lance Briggs was talking about. He said that you don't know how fast he is, and sometimes you go to tackle him and you miss him like 3 yards. Briggs just missed him by 3 yards on that last play. In fact, they were blitzing right into the side that Adrian Peterson ran.
Peterson out, as is normally the case on 3rd down. Chester Taylor is in. Rolling right is Farrat, and has that pass tipped. Bears very adept at that. Adewale Ogunleye with the tip from the 20. Bears begin this drive down by 3. Halfway through the period. Play fake, pump fake. And the pass intercepted at the 46 by Darren Sharper. Sharp's first pick of the season, ending a long streak by Orton without an interception. Gain of 5. Orton had thrown 205 consecutive passes without an interception, a Chicago Bear record, and he's going over the pictures right now.
You knew that there wasn't going to be something good at the end of this because the Bears have never scored a point, haven't scored a point all year when they started out on their own 20-yard line. And they started out on the 20-yard line in that drive. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have a pretty good idea what's not going to happen.
Didn't take long, 2nd and 5. As Peterson picks up maybe a yard. They'll spot it at the 29-yard line. And upcoming will be a 3rd down and 4. And in comes Chester Taylor, and out goes Peterson.
And what Sharper's talking about is I just sat back there in cover 2 and read the quarterback, and I'm surprised that Kyle Orton didn't read the same thing. Now, you know, his receiver gets by the corner, but that safety is just sitting on that side. He has a deep half of that side of the field.
3rd and 4 shotgun. Bears have 8 guys up on the line. Here they come. Heavy blitz. Perot's able to get it away, and that will be a 1st down. That's Sidney Rice on the outside. So with everybody coming, Perot, quick drop, quick pass, 1st down.
You know, and Perot said this the other day that they're going to get up there, they're going to press the line of scrimmage, they're going to blitz me, and I am going to have to throw to the outside receivers. That's exactly what he does. I mean, there's no way that you can run to the inside. There's no way you're going to have a long time to pass. You have to get rid of the ball quickly, but you have to challenge it. You can't let them just make you run into them.
Peterson back in. He's going to cut it back. He's going to try to get to the outside. Heavy contact, and down he goes. Graham is the first guy there, and then he gets knocked down at the end of the play by Lance Briggs.
You know, I was talking about Brad Childress saying how violently that Adrian Peterson runs. Now that's a stiff arm. I mean, when you take that left hand, you just darn near knock a guy out with it. Boom! You know, get the heck out of here. Yeah, I mean, he does. You know, I mean, I think there's a word above running hard, and that's what Adrian Peterson does.
Sunday, bloody Sunday. Just look at the 2 on it. Look at the 8 as well.
How do you get like that in an indoor arena?
2nd and 10.
Carpet.
We need a cut man on the other side. And this is Taylor running to the end zone for a touchdown. From the 18-yard line on 1st down, this is Matt Forte going nowhere. Gobbled up by the purple shirts. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
You know, I know that they've taken Devin Hester off the kickoff return, but I think in a game like this, I think I'd put him back there. I mean, he's a threat, and you say, well, you know, maybe he's not doing as well on kickoff returns, but he gets in the head of kickers and kicking teams, and they do so many goofy things, and they start on the 40. Without him, these kicking teams have a lot of confidence, and they just kick the ball deep, and then the Bears start off inside their own 20.
Which is not a good place, as you mentioned before, for them to start on 2nd down. And this is Hester going nowhere. He gets blanketed by Winfield, and that will set up a 3rd down and 6 for Chicago.
Yeah, because I know, you know, in talking to other teams that play the Bears, they worry all week about kicking off to Hester and where they're going to kick to him, and you know how they're going to kick. You squib kick, you kick, you know, here or there, and all that. And I think it's a mistake not having him back there.
3rd and 7. Orton steps away from the pressure, and then the pass is incomplete. Threw it behind Olsen, and that's Winfield again in on the action. They'll trail the winner of this game by 2. To the outside, the pass is caught by Berrien, and Tillman is right there to make the tackle after a gain of a couple.
You know, one thing that Tillman is really good at, and you see him try that at the end, is stripping the ball. I mean, he's one of the better strippers in all the NFL. In fact, this whole, well, so to speak, yeah, but this whole Bear defense is. I mean, you know, that at the end of every tackle, they try and strip the ball out. So they're good strippers.
Yes, they are.
Looking for good strippers. You know where to go.
2nd down and 6. Right to the Love Boat. This is Peterson carrying to the 43-yard line, and it will be 3rd down and 3.
You know, and sometimes
you got to have a little rascal in you, right? You know that.
You have to get rid of that stripping thing. But sometimes I think that you know, affects their tackling. You know, that they get, you know, they're so good at it and it's such a big part of their defense. You know, getting turnovers, stripping the ball, getting it out, making them fumble, that sometimes they forget to tackle, I think.
Better remember here it's 3rd down and 3. Chester Taylor is the back. Farrat avoids the sack. Going deep downfield and a little out of the reach of Shanko. Asante Shanko, former tight end with the Giants.
At this time of year.
This drive starts with Forte busting one right through the middle and then getting rolled down up at the 30-yard line by Medeo Williams after a 25-yard run.
And the minute you say that, they break one right up the middle. But it's interesting that, you know, that they try and rotate defensive linemen, and I think when you get them backed up, I think you need all your guys in there. First down, they felt pretty comfortable. They don't have Kevin Williams in there, and then boom, they just hit him right where he would have been. And I'm not a big rotating guy of good players.
That puts Forte over 1,000 yards for the year on the ground, and now we'll add a few more as he receives this pass. Forte is the 4th Chicago rookie to rush for 1,000 yards. So you would think, well, of course, Walter Payton, Gale Sayers. Wrong. Beatty Feathers all the way back in the 30s. And then Rashaan Salam, who won the Heisman Trophy, did it as a rookie in '95, and Anthony A-Train Thomas in '01.
I think this guy is going to be around a lot longer than some of those guys are. I mean,
Yep.
I really think he has it all.
Just thinking the same thing. 2nd and 4. And the quarter will end on a 2-yard gain up to the 39-yard line. 3rd down and 2 as we start the 4th quarter. Chicago at its own 39. To the outside goes Orton, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Rashid Davis, and Olsen was also. Peterson. Up to the 15, gain of 1 for AP. Alex Brown makes the stop.
You see Agunlia here on the tight end and Shanko, and he just holds him, picks him up, stuffs him right there, waits for the ball to get to him, and makes everything go inside of him. William now lined up on Kleinsasser.
2nd and 9. Protection is good, but he's got to check it down to Peterson out on the flat, and that's a hard yard that he gains there. Ball will be spotted at the 16-yard line. Nick Roach makes the stop along with Graham. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
And when Gus Farrat first signed, you know, he was told that he could go home on Monday and Tuesday, and he was going to be the backup. So his family was up there in St. Louis, and they'd play on Sunday, and then he'd go home Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, come back Wednesday, and then after the 2nd game, he became the starter, and he said, no more deal. You have to be here on Monday and Tuesday.
They brought him in as the backup, as insurance, as a part-time mentor to Tavares Jackson. And now it's his team on 3rd and 8. Underneath the Taylor, not enough for a 1st down. Stop at the 21-yard line by Tommy.
I think if he had that much energy in him, I'd have him in the game.
Here's Hester on the end around to the 45-yard line. Tackled by Cedric Griffin.
You know, if you had someone in your coach and you'd like to take home, it's this guy, Jared Allen. I mean, just watch the motor he has, 110 miles an hour, plays with speed, plays hard, tackles well, you know, never quits, has everything. I mean, he has come very, very close to dominating this game. If I were the Bears, especially on 3rd down, I'd start chipping him.
2nd and 7. Intercepted at the 50-yard line. Ben Lieber. And he'll get taken down by Forte, and the ball comes loose, but it may have gone out of bounds. The officials have not whistled it dead yet. It will be recovered at the 6-yard line. It was Greg Olsen who created the strip on the other end.
And they would play a lot of cover 2, And that's been a tough thing for the Bears to take advantage of.
So here's Peterson, and again he gets stopped. But then it takes an army to knock him down at the 21-yard line.
You know, and he has to have a heck of a lot of pain and bruises and contusions and everything the next day. I mean, the way there's not a lot of guys that play that way in this league. I know Jerome Bettis was saying before the game that as a runner he reminds him of Walter Payton, and he does. I mean, Walter Payton was more of a complete back, and he's a receiver and blocker and all those things, but Walter Payton was also a very violent runner.
Out he comes, bloody jersey, dented helmet. And then through the middle goes Chester Taylor to the 14-yard line. And you can see how hard he runs. And the punishment that he not only dishes out but absorbs. Blood on his jersey, blood on his pants, scratches and dents all over the helmet.
You know, last Saturday morning he was late for a meeting, so he was benched for the first 2 series of the game, and that never made sense to me. I mean, guy's late for a meeting and he's your best player. Why you don't let him play? You know, there's some guys you hold the bus for. You hold the bus for Adrian Peterson.
3rd and 2. You might be holding it for Chester Taylor as well as he takes it to the 5-yard line. Stopped by Alex Brown. 1st and goal.
Oh no, that's a 1-2 punch. I mean, that's the thing. Adrian Peterson's a running back. He's the guy. But when he's not, you bring in Chester Taylor. He's going to make some big plays for you. Not only as a runner, but he's also a good blocker, and he's a good receiver. So usually in passing situations, they like to have Chester Taylor in there.
Under 10 to play. Briggs came up to fill the gap. And Taylor will get taken down. Payne is able to wrap him up inside the 2-yard line. 2nd down and goal upcoming.
Yeah, that was the thing that Adrian Peterson said that he liked about this defense is they kind of mug the line of scrimmage. The linebackers do. You see them all up in there tight, but if you find a crease in there, you're going to run it right to the safety. And that's exactly what Chester Taylor did on that play. The Viking offensive line is taking over this game.
2nd and goal. Taylor tries to angle his way into the end zone, and he can't. It's going to be 3rd down and goal. And Chicago will need a goal line stand to avoid this turning into a 3-possession game.
And Adrian Peterson is coming into the game, so wouldn't you imagine a ball is going to be handed to him? I think if the play weren't a run to Adrian Peterson, I think they'd leave Chester Taylor in there.
Right. When I say 3-possession game, 3-possession lead is the definition of that. They'd be down by 17 if the extra point was good instead of keeping it to a field goal. And 13. Peterson back in. They give it to him, and he goes in easily for the touchdown. And others with Jay Leno on the Tonight Show this week. Kyle Orton on 1st down will throw, and it's tipped, and that is intercepted. Another pick by Benny Sapp. And Sapp chased down by Lloyd, who tries to strip it, and a flag is thrown at the end of the play as Benny Sapp comes up with an interception. And so Orton, 1st down at the 20-yard line. Peterson is the running back. Peterson knives through and then just gets thrust back by Lance Briggs. He pays a price on every run.
Yeah, I don't know that he has to keep paying that price now. I mean, I think that, you know, that Adrian Peterson did his work for the night, did his job for the Vikings, and I don't know that he has to keep doing it.
2nd and 8 from the 18-yard line.
I mean, because, you know, at the end of every run, it's going to be a train wreck. I mean, he just doesn't give up on a run, and you know, he's going to keep driving and keep getting hits.
4 more tough yards, and Harris gives him a hand to get up. It'll be 3rd down. There it is with Orton. A Chicago record 205 consecutive passes, no interceptions. and then all of a sudden hit the wall.
And again, I think it's that, Minnesota front defensive line that can handle, they don't have to blitz. They don't have to press the line of scrimmage. They don't have to bring a safety down. Those guys take care of everything up there, and then they can play those soft zones and play 5 defensive backs.
3rd and 3. Peterson. He gets the first down, and they can chew up even more of the clock right now as Corey Graham makes the tackle to the 7-yard line. I think about Benny Sapp. You talk about one of those outhouse to the penthouse nights. You go back, I mean, that was the key to the game early in the second quarter. Actually, it was a little bit later on, but he had that personal foul, which meant Chicago didn't have to punt. They went down. They had a 1st and goal. Fabulous goal line stand. 99-yard pass to Berrien. Turned the whole game around. Score before the half is over. And there's the guy. As I said, he got a get-out-of-jail-free card tonight.
That's why he's smiling, because he has that card.
Right. He was acquitted. Chester Taylor taken down at the 6-yard line. Go back to what we were talking about early on. There it was. This would have set up a punt. Instead, you had that. And then Chicago was on the cusp of going up 14-3. And the next thing you know, they stop them. They go up 10-7. They score again before the half. And then Orton melts down here in the second half. And they're up by 17 and knocking on the door again.
Think he'll be fined for that?
Might be.
Yep.
2nd and goal. Peterson. Lance Briggs makes the tackle. Third down and goal. The Bears, and we go back, there's that graphic we showed before. Terrific against Tennessee, horrible against Green Bay, great against the Rams, albeit without Steven Jackson. And then tonight, 5.2 yards a rush and 181 yards on the ground for Minnesota against Chicago's defense.
Right, and that's, a big part of that is Adrian Peterson. And when Lovie Smith said last night that he thinks he's the best player in the NFL, he was right.
And this time the best player in Lovie's mind is tackled by Israel Adonijah.
Every down is up, because you never know what's going to be the play, what's going to be the situation that is going to turn a game around.
And right now, that's the end of the play. It is no fumble, as it was whistled dead by Bill Levy, but Jared Allen came in again for his 3rd sack, so he gets the hat trick. Even though he won't get the touchdown, he does a little celebrating in the end zone anyway.
But what he does, that's his rope in the calf thing. He's an old cowboy and wears a cowboy hat and everything, and when he gets a sack, he ropes a calf. But I mean, he's been going around poor John St. Clair all night, and they haven't given him much help. I would think at some point you'd give him a little help so he wouldn't be there roping calves.
Might get fined for that because he used the ball as a prop, even though he didn't score the touchdown.
Now, the guy's played too hard.
Yeah.
Now, let's not get him fined.
Oh, no, we don't want
He always does that. That's part of his deal.
Yep.
Maybe not with the ball, though, is what you're saying.
Yeah. You've used it as a prop.
Yeah, you're right. But he he played too hard tonight to get fined.
He deserved. Yeah. He's been fined a lot, what, $80,000 this year?
Well, he got, that $25,000 one, that hit, that was a bad call.
3rd and 18. Forte up to the 20-yard line. So it's 4th down, 3:20 remaining in regulation.
Great players in any era would be great players. And Jared Allen, has that perfect temperament to play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
2nd and 11 from the 34. And the Chicago Bears go home after the game. 3 consecutive home games. And now they're going to need some help because they're going to trail the Vikings by a game, and they will have split the season series with Minnesota.
When you get to December in football, it's a tough teams. I mean, that's when you have to do the things like block and tackle and be crisp and all those things. Kind of like the Vikings look tonight. Kind of like the way the Minnesota, Vikings have played like the Giants play, like Pittsburgh plays, like, you know, those tough teams.
Driving down.
And that's Mark Anderson making the tackle here on Taylor. From the 32. And we'll just run it out here as Garrett Wolf gets the carry, and that will do it. The Minnesota Vikings turning the game around on a fabulous goal line stand, on a 99-yard touchdown pass, on a touchdown at the end of the half, on a dominant second half where they picked Orthoff 3 times, go to 7-5 in the NFC North and take undisputed possession of first place in the division. They win it by a score of 34-14. The Wendy's postgame report from Minneapolis and from 30.